name is Michael. As mentioned, I am actually a full-time medical missionary and also literature evangelist. For those who don't know what a medical missionary and literature evangelist is, a medical missionary is essentially one who uses the gospel message to actually, in a specific way, actually presenting health in front of it. Like an example, I just finished a project out in Arkansas where we found that there was actually a Seventh-day Adventist church, and there was also, what they call a healthy gourmet restaurant. They actually provided vegan food. Now, get this. So the pastor of the church in the town in Arkansas actually was also the owner of the restaurant right in town. Yeah, feel free to give me. He has to mic me, so you know.
For the camera.
It's for the camera. So a quick story is so the pastor of the actual church owns the vegan restaurant, and you know how we have Whole Foods here, Whole Foods or Fairway Market. So it's one of the popular health food stores. So out there they have what's called Ozark's Natural Foods. And so he sets up the restaurant a few stores over from Ozark's Natural Foods. So people are actually aware that he's providing these resources for people. He's telling them about health and ways they can improve their life. He even opened up another room to do health consultations for people who are dealing with health problems like diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, cancer. And so they can get a one-on-one consultation in his restaurant. And get this, not only did he set this up in the restaurant, but he actually hosted a weekend, a series of health where he talked about practical ways we can reverse any type of lifestyle problem. And then he connected it with the spiritual aspect of it, which he talked about how the Bible talks about health. And at the end of that teaching series, actually about 8 or 9 people specifically signed up for Bible studies at the restaurant, only on the book of Daniel. 8 people. So he used this message of health as a way to evangelize and to reach the community. And I believe that model is actually something very fitting that we could use. Why? Everybody deals with health problems. You may not have diabetes, you may not have high cholesterol, but you have some kind of health concern. So I found that fascinating. And as far as being a literature evangelist, I use literature to help other people who have mental issues, health issues, those kind of things, mental, spiritual, or physical. But did I bring my, and I'm also a chef. So one thing I always like to do is, for those who are under, let's try under 15. This is actually one of my favorite things that I actually make, which is actually my homemade granola. I try to show people that you can actually have delicious, healthy food that does not sacrifice the taste as well. So here's a question. If you are 15 and under, I have a question for you. If you raise your hand and I will see you, whoever the first one is, I will see you. I'll just give this to you and you can try it for yourself. Of course, not in here, outside. And you can share who you want. So here's a question, and you can ask anybody you want. In the Bible, so this is the Bible question. In the Bible, there was a king named King Nebuchadnezzar, and King Nebuchadnezzar felt he wanted to capture some people from, Judah. There was actually about 4 major boys mentioned. Now, these boys' names had, their Hebrew names were, anybody remember, it was like Hananiah, Mishael, Azariah, and Daniel. Now, here's the question. For those who want it, if you don't, I'll give it to one of the adults, and that's totally fine. I'm sure they would love something like this. Here's the question. What the king did is he gave them all Babylonian names as well. Hananiah was given the name of Shadrach, Mishael was given the name of Meshach, and Azariah was given the name of Abednego. Now, the question is, what was Daniel's Babylonian name given? Take your time.
It was almost like Nebuchadnezzar's name.
You don't remember? Okay. That's your final answer. Okay. Anyone else? And I said, you can get it from anyone can tell you. You gotta be 15 and under. Any hand? You just raise your hand. I'll call you if you know the name. Daniel's Babylonian name. $15 and under, just raise your hand. I'll call you if you know. No. Yeah. And that's fine. And feel free to, and share with it, because that was cool. He said Belshazzar. He said Belshazzar, but it was Belteshazzar. Belteshazzar. Not because we always like to quote the name, but I like to always know it's interesting. So, a bit of my story. I wasn't always a Seventh-day Adventist. I was impressed by this church about 6 years ago because actually I was doing a lot of Bible study and I found the things that I was learning were very consistent with this church. But one thing I really noticed, which was to me disturbing, was when I started to actually visit churches and I started to see the kind of food they were serving. And I said, wow, this is disgusting. Like, why would any church not eat meat? Because this is, I'm like, where's the food? Where's the thing? What's that? What's that? I hear these strange names like Gung Pao and Wham and Stripples and then I'm like, this is disgusting. That was how I felt about it because I ate really much whatever I wanted. That's my thing because I didn't believe that that's important, eating these foods. I believe they were strange. So I said, that's disgusting. I'm not trying that, but that's fine. They're free to do that. I'm here for another purpose. But then I started noticing people kept talking more about this health thing, and I said, I still want to still explain what that thing is, that circular thing that tastes weird. So I decided to do my own research, and I found out that much of what this church teaches on health is actually very popular. It's actually very popular with people outside the church. For instance, there was actually a show on, it was an Oprah Winfrey show where she actually invited Dr. Oz and also another man by the name of Dan Buettner. Now, all those three got together and they talked about the 3 longest living cultures in the planet. Anybody know those 3? The three longest living cultures. Seventh-day Adventists are one of them.
Loma Linda is located about 60 miles east of Los Angeles, and where you'll find the group of Americans who live the longest. It's also where you'll find 9,000 followers of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. Adventists are Christian. Part of their core belief includes an emphasis on diet and health. No smoking, no drinking, no eating meat or processed foods.
How you doing? Hey, how good. I didn't expect to see you there.
94-year-old Adventist Dr. Ellsworth Wareham can still be found in the operating room.
He still does open heart surgery. He's an amazing guy.
Okinawans are the second one. And it was from Italy, the Sardinians were listed as the third one. And so in National Geographic, you actually notice all these cultures. And they had a whole kind of presentation talking about all of them and how they actually live. And so I noticed not only in Oprah Winfrey's show, she's talking about Adventists, but even on National Geographic, it was an article issued in 2005. And it listed Adventists in that book and listed why exactly do these individuals live so long. And so this is a secular magazine, really as far as anybody, in the world can get it. So I started noticing these things. I said, okay, well, all right, that's okay. So I guess this is actually very fascinating to everyone outside. So maybe I should actually try to find out why. Exactly. And interestingly enough, so they invited, a lot of different people, and then they actually had on the Oprah Winfrey show, they had a lady who was about 103. Anybody remember that episode? Anyone watch that? Yeah?
When I first meet Marge, I can't believe she's 103 years old.
It's hard to keep up with you, Marge.
Then I see her daily exercise routine, and I'm really blown away.
So how long do you do this for?
7 or 8 miles.
7 or 8 miles.
Yeah. Your heart rate is not fast even now. You're biking 25 miles an hour. It's impressive. Most folks watching the program, I don't think can go 25 miles an hour.
Take my jacket off.
Yes, so go on. She's getting risque now. Oh, now she's getting serious.
At 103, Marge is an absolute dynamo.
At 103. Still lifting weights and still doing that kind of stuff. So I noticed that this church had to have something better. So I said, all right, you know what I'm going to do? I think there's some serious stuff here. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a step in my health. I'm going to give up the McDonald's burger. I'm just going to try the fries. That's it. And I don't see why that's so funny, because I was really struggling with that. And so I really said to myself that, no, this is a healthy choice, because I don't know what's in the meat, but the fries are okay. So I would try to balance everything out, and I found myself making a wreck of my health, and I eventually had to turn back and go back to what I used to be eating, because I didn't know how to balance myself as well. And so I actually noticed that a lot of people struggle in this area where they're concerned about their health. They have family members who are being affected by health problems, but they don't necessarily know how they themselves can balance this out with adopting a more healthy, fitting diet. So one thing I put together for everyone was something, actually, what I believe was something better, which actually focuses on the America's longest living culture. So the reason why I believe this is important is because not only can you learn about the culture, which many of you are part of it as well, but you can learn why it works and actually how to make sure it's balanced, because a lot of people watch Oprah. So that means a lot of people know. And if a lot of people know, then that means that we kind of have a little to represent here. I can tell you why. Doing literature evangelism, meaning I go door to door, people's homes and also businesses. I talk about how we can, just fight against health problems. So people are usually open to hear that. And I remember when I went to one business, I came in the business, I said, oh, hi, my name is Michael. I'm just, working in the community on a healthy lifestyle project. We're just fighting against health problems that are affecting our community. And we just wanted you to take a quick look, if you have time, of course. And I was sharing some information, and then he saw, a flyer I had, which was actually inviting him out to a health series. He saw the flyer. Get this. He saw the flyer, and then he saw a Seventh-day Adventist logo on it, and then said, that's the one with the book and the flame. And then he said, you're a Seventh-day Adventist? I said, me? Yes, I am. Because you don't know what you don't know what they're gonna throw out there. I'm just like, market beast. Which one is he gonna go? Which one is he? I remember all of them. I'm going through all the doctrines I know, and oh my gosh, what's he gonna ask me? State of the dead, and he just asked a simple question. He said, let me ask you a question, because I'm doing a lot of studying on Adventists. Why don't you guys eat meat? That's all he wanted to know. He says, the Bible doesn't say you shouldn't eat meat, so why don't you? Why? Oh, I had no answer. Now, I'll tell you, I know for a fact, granted, God can help you in any situation, but I know why people are scared to evangelize. Because they'll get questions like that. Now, mind you, I was not even prepared for this question. I didn't just rehearse it. He says, why is it that you guys do not eat meat? Because the Bible does not say you should not. Hello. The Bible doesn't say you shouldn't, so explain yourself. He didn't say those words, but that's kind of the challenge he presented to me. And right then, while he was talking, I was praying very hard. And instantly, God really downloaded. It's like I literally recognized he just gave me the answer there because he wanted me to reach him. So I said, well, let me ask you a question. Do you read the Bible, right? He's like, yeah, of course I read the Bible. I was like, oh, that's fine. The reason why we don't eat meat, many of us, is because we actually want to be an example. Because when we look at the life of Jesus, you read the Bible, sir. So what was Jesus mostly focused on when he was on earth? He was focusing on people's needs. And many people around him had health problems, such as they was blind, they were lame, they were crippled. So he wanted to be a good example to them, to show them how they can actually relieve health problems. And I said, sir, have you ever read in, Matthew 24, where it talks about things are going to happen in the last days, about, earthquakes and wars and rumors of wars and all these things, and it's going to be just diverse places, it's catastrophe, just psh. I didn't do that. I didn't do the psh part. Like, just letting you know. But I said, you know about that part, right? He says, yeah. I said, do you remember that part where it talked about pestilences? Sir, do you know what a pestilence is? He says, oh. I says, a pestilence is actually a disease that animals carry that kills humans. Do you know any diseases that animals carry that kills humans? Mad cow disease, bird flu, swine flu. You're finding a lot of chemicals in fishes now. High mercury, there's a lot of things happening. So I'm saying it's not that we're just saying that we're mandating that everyone do it, because you're right, the Bible does not say that. However, we're just taking a smart route because we know that it is increasing. So I believe the smartest thing to do is actually to switch with something better. Does that answer your question, sir? He's like, yeah, that does. It's fine. And I got out of there fast because that's the thing. When you give an answer, just get out. Just get out, because there's some people that want to challenge you, but the Lord is able to give them an answer through you. So, with that said, we should never be scared to share what we believe, because the Lord will give you the answer if you ask Him to. You know, many people are scared to talk about why they believe what they believe, you know, as if we should be ashamed of this. But interestingly enough, when Dr. Oz is interviewing Adventists, they're not ashamed. They're like, yeah, I'm a Seventh-day Adventist. This is what I believe. This is what I worship. And the world is fascinated by it, because if you can explain some things about health, they want to know more. Look at all the health gurus that are around. And then you hear when they talk about the spiritual side, people are like, wow, that's impressive. Be one with the earth. Like, that's so deep. But they healed me of my diabetes, so I think they're deep. I think they should be right. Yeah. Because if they got that right, why are they wrong about that? Yeah. And that's how most people think. So I think that was actually very beneficial. So one thing that I put together was to show people about America's longest living culture, especially how they live and why is it exactly that this culture in America lives so long. So one thing that makes a lot of sense is that it's not about just what they eat, it's how they live as well. So ways people can actually enhance or improve years on their life is not just eating. In fact, even actually becoming a vegetarian, studies have shown is like, okay, you can actually enhance about 2 years to your life just by being a vegetarian. But there's other things that this culture actually does that actually just promotes more health and enhances or improves more years of their life. Exercising regularly, actually improving about 4 years as well. Volunteering once a week. Amazingly, they put 7 years down. Why exactly would that be beneficial? What does volunteering actually do for an individual to improve their health?
Give them back, makes them have gratitude.
You have an attitude of giving. So when you have an attitude of giving yourself to other people, it actually enhances your life. So that's actually very interesting. And also, even said that attending church. Now, I have a little bit of a problem with it, only for one reason. I think it was very vague put, but I know for a reason why. It says, attending church, you can enhance about 7 to 14 years. Now, I know a lot of people that attend church. But I definitely know that has not enhanced or improved years on their life. But I noticed people who were active in what they did with God's people. I noticed that they seemed to be improving years on their life. So not just come, because then people are like, okay, great, you take one step in, all right, I attended church, I got out. All right, 7 years, that's about 7 years. So it's actually that they actually were very involved, they actually did things, they were actually able to assist people as well in church. Not just being there presently, but they were able to give something. Like in the Bible, it's explained that Jesus would make it his custom to go to church, but what did he do there? He taught. So he shared. He's giving himself to people. Even if they argued with him, he still came there to teach. And that's actually a very impressive example. And then, other things that they were actually able to do, they said, maintaining a healthy body weight, they actually enhance about 3 to 4 years on top of that. So there was many things that they actually used together to actually make it work, besides the nutrition. And by the way, you can actually make all the things that you're familiar with as well, without having to sacrifice the taste to actually get a good meal. You know, so if, for instance, people are like very interested in like, you know, eggplant parmesan. Oh, I had to give up my eggplant parmesan to attend this church and accept this health message. Like, no, you don't. But you can do something better than that. So what I loved about it was that now I didn't have to give up anything. I just had to switch it with something better. And when I had that attitude, I realized that this is a very exciting health message. Not only am I getting what I need, I don't have to sacrifice the taste to actually get it as well. Who are my cheese fans in here? Like anybody like pizza and those kind of things? Yeah. I always go to the younger crowd because I love cheese. I love cheese, and I'm so devoted to cheese. But I knew a lot of things about cheese that were not helping me. It wasn't helping my health. But what I want to do is I said, you know what? I'm going to find something better than that. So I said, all right, fine. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start making my own. If I make my own and I have what I need, not only am I going to get the taste I want, I'm going to get the benefit that comes from it. So that's actually what I believe was very impressive. And so not only am I going to make cheese, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on something. What do we usually put cheese on? Crackers. What was this? Bun and cheese. Bun and cheese. That works too. Some people like bun and cheese. Meat, omelets, pasta. My favorite one, I like to make pizzas. So my favorite thing to do with my cheese that I make, I put it on my pizzas. So that's the thing. So it's never about throwing stuff away. Because when it comes to many things I was learning, I found out that a lot of people like to talk about what people don't do a lot. Especially, like I found so much as a Seventh-day Adventist, many people ask Seventh-day Adventists, what do you do? What do you guys do? And then you know what the responses usually are? I mean, well, we don't do that, and we don't smoke that, and we don't drink that, and we don't go there, and we don't watch that, and we don't play that. And then one day out of the week, we don't do anything. That's not a good testimony. I said, I know this. I was like, we got to do something. And when I first came to the church, I was very scared because I was like, I'm scared to just cough wrong because I think that's not allowable. And I'm thinking people are like watching me. So I said, what exactly can you do? So I found out that is a lot to this besides just healthy eating. One thing that anybody heard of Pastor David Asherick? Pastor David Asherick. So one thing I felt was very important for me to understand what exactly what is health? Because if I don't understand what this is, I'm going to make a huge mess of everything. So one thing that he put together was actually a 4 CD lesson study on actually what the health message is, but he did it from a broad biblical perspective. So he actually showed from the Bible, all the way from Genesis to Revelation, how the whole Bible talks about health. And most people just miss it. The whole Bible, essentially, is the message of health. Well, look at it one way. Adam and Eve. When Adam and Eve sinned and they took of the fruit they were not supposed to, they suffered illness on 4 different levels. They suffered physical illness, mental illness, social illness, and spiritual illness. Mentally, how did they suffer after they sinned? Oh, they had guilt. Do you think they had guilt before they sinned? So they suffered with guilt afterward. Physically, how did they suffer? Oh, they could die. They couldn't die before. Okay. Socially. Oh, socially. Separate. And that actually is tied in. They were separated from God, but they were separated from each other. You know why? That woman you gave me. That's important. That's actually a very important part because mental illness is actually something that people don't talk about very often. he ended up blaming somebody else for his personal problems. And that in many worlds, that's actually called an illness, a mental problem. And then spiritually, they were separated from God, and which means that they could ultimately be destroyed, ultimately. You know, when it talks about the wages of sin is death. So what I learned is that you can learn more about how this whole message of the Bible is that it's health and how we can actually find out what we can do. Not what we just don't do, but we can find out what we do as well. That's actually, I believe, an important part, what we can do. And then, since this program is actually focused on food for life, I learned that there's actually ways people can use food as a healing mechanism. So now you can actually use food to heal the body because many people are dependent on many different things. And I always say as a disclaimer, please, if you hear anything that you just get excited, don't run home and throw out all your medication. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. Please ask your doctor or please talk to them. Let them know what you're trying to do. Seek professional care and assistance as well. I believe that's very important. And do not go home and just throw out everything in the fridge because if you don't know what to substitute it with, then you may be suffering different nutritional problems as well. But one thing I learned is important. When learning how to use food, you can actually use food to heal the body and you can use food to cleanse the body. Because usually people want to do like certain cleanses. Some people do like enemas and colonics and put things in them and shove things in them, you know, all kinds of yeah? You know what I'm talking about? Okay, you know what I'm talking about. But what you can do is you can actually now use food to actually do that. So one resource I put together was actually, it was Better Cooking, Better Living, which is actually, anybody watch like 3ABN? 3ABN? It actually had a network on it, and it's a program called Taste of Paradise. And so what this does, actually, it's a new series of cooking shows, and actually focuses on a way to use food as a cleansing agent. You know, so one thing you can use instead of like individuals who have a cold or anything, they want to get out some impurity, you can actually make what's called a tropical detoxifying fruit salad for yourself. So usually people want to take a medication for it, but you can actually use food to be the medication and flush toxins out of the body. And in fact, actually one of Veggie's best kept secrets, there's dozens of recipes on here, but Veggie's best kept secret is one of the ones that I believe is very powerful because it actually talks about how to cook artichoke. Now, artichoke is a very strange thing for people because people see that in the shopping area, in the market, and like, I don't know what that green thing is with the spikes on it. It looks like a crown. I don't know what it is, but it doesn't matter. But it's a very powerful detoxifying agent. Does anybody know what organ it actually helps to cleanse? It actually cleanses the liver. So it actually shows you how you can use these things to cleanse the body. And those are just two of the many. You can actually use different types of things. Some people tried like soy milk. You tried soy milk before? Soy milk? No? Not some soy milk fans. That's okay. That's fine. Get this. Anybody ever tried cashew milk? Okay, 1, 2, 3. Now get this. Cashew milk, especially. I'm going to share this before I move on. Cashew milk, especially because it comes from cashews, so cashews. These things are extremely powerful for the body. One reason specifically is because it actually has a very powerful a nutrient for the body, which is actually magnesium. Now, for people who are not really interested in that, what's really good about magnesium, it's actually something that's very needed when it comes to the nervous system. So one thing I noticed is because I love to make granola, and I always put my cashews in there, and I always love to eat cashews. Not too much, but I noticed that it's so high in magnesium. What it is, it actually helps to deal with mental problems. And in fact, if you combine that with oats, because oats also have a high amount, if you actually combine that, it's actually been shown, this was actually put together by Dr. George D. Pamplona-Roger, and he did a lot of studies on foods and their healing power. So he actually showed that there are actual foods that can actually help individuals to overcome mental depression. And most people prescribe pills for that. But it's interesting that you can actually use food as medicine as well. So that's just one major thing. And I thought that was very important. And the last thing I'll actually share with you guys is the fact that nutrition is extremely important because God made us in a very interesting way. when man was created, it said that God made him out of the, what's it? He made him out of the dust. So that told me something that's extremely important, and it's scientific. If man was created out of the dust of the ground, the same chemicals and nutrients that would actually be found in the ground will be the same chemicals and nutrients that I would need inside my body. Therefore, if I don't have it, I'm going to have a problem. So I thought that was important. So usually, like when people learn like the periodic table and say, oh, what's these silly chemicals and nutrients? That's what's in your body. Magnesium, calcium, iron, you name it, it's in there. And you need it inside your body. But that's just one part of it. I think it was mentioned earlier. So health is not just about, counting calories and eating different types of food that taste good. It's actually just using health in a multifaceted way, meaning there are about 8 different laws that are actually given to guide the human body. I'm sure you guys have heard of it. There's nutrition. Has anyone heard of the other? Exercise, water, sunlight,
Temperance.
air.
Trusting God.
Nutrition, exercise, water, sunlight, temperance, air, rest, and also trusting in divine power as well, because that's the spiritual health as well. So one thing I believe was very important is to learn how all of these things work. So the last thing I always share when I always travel is the way we can learn how nature itself is a healing tool for us. So not only can you learn about the 8 laws of health, like the ones we actually listed, like exercise, how much exercise does one body need, what's the benefit of fresh air. Actually, especially for those who are of a darker complexion, interestingly enough, we actually don't, in this climate in New York, we don't usually get enough adequate sunlight, usually. Those who actually in the southern climates actually can get a good amount. But it just means we have to spend a little bit more time in the sun because it actually creates a very powerful vitamin for us. Anybody know that one? Vitamin D. So sunlight helps the body produce it as well. So it's actually very good to get that. And it just shows you simple tips you can actually use. And what's actually really amazing about it is actually I found out a little tip about getting good sunlight or getting enough sunlight. It says actually sunlight actually enhances the mental outlook and a sense of well-being. Like, what are you talking about? Sunlight actually enhances the mental outlook and a sense of well-being, and it actually helps prevent or overcome mental depression. So you ever wondered why it gets sunny, you start feeling all like, oh wow, I don't know why I feel so good and I feel happy and then... You ever wondered that? So I thought that was very interesting. So it's not so far-fetched why people get happy on sunny days. It's not too far-fetched. And as well as how to treat your body in case of any type of illnesses. This church has a very, 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 very powerful health system. Because what they did is I learned that this church also learned how to use simple remedies to actually reverse and fight against health problems. One of which was actually using hydrotherapy. Has anyone ever heard of hydrotherapy? Okay, that's good. All it is actually using the temperature of water, which actually works to actually heal the different parts of the body that are injured. It could be based on infection. It could be based on swelling. You always saw those commercials with the guy with the hot packs and the icy hot and different things. Because what it is, people found out that temperature actually helps to regulate the body. So all it does, it actually uses temperature to show you what hot water and what cold water actually can do. So many people who deal with things such as headaches, colds, flus, sore throats, and the sniffles and everything, you can actually learn how to do different things. Like you can do a hot foot bath at home. No side effects. All you do is it teaches you step by step how to apply it and actually helps to relieve different things. Like headaches is one of the top ones. And it even shows you how you can even use it for sore throats. You can apply it on the body. So this is actually it seems like so primitive, but it's actually a simple way for people to, if the case is not severe, because if it is, you need to go see your professional. You can deal with that. But if it is not too severe, you can actually learn how to do it yourself. And you can also learn how to use what's called activated charcoal. Yeah, you guys ever heard of that? Activated charcoal. Now for parents, I'll tell you, this is actually very, very, very beneficial. Why? Because activated charcoal works amazing for one specific thing. Our stomach. Anybody know what people use activated charcoal for? Cleansing the body, detoxifying the body, and many people use it especially in the case of poisoning. So it can be food poisoning, it could be an insect bite or snake bite or anything that happens, mosquito or bee. What it does, it shows you how activated charcoal actually goes into the body and it doesn't absorb, but it actually adsorbs. It means it grabs whatever the toxin is and actually drags it and takes it out of the body with it. That's what activated charcoal does. So that's actually amazing. And what's actually an interesting fact, because my mom's an RN, they actually keep it in emergency rooms. So you have an emergency and they'll give you activated charcoal. But if you just got it, what I say is, hey, if it's an emergency, you gotta go. But for me, I like to save money sometimes. Sometimes I like to. So I thought that was beneficial, so you can actually use it. Even if you actually get, if an individual gets stung, it shows you how you can actually apply it and you can wrap it, you can have it wrapped around as a poultice or a paste, and it actually can get the toxin out of you as well. So as mentioned, this message of health is not just something that we can just, because people are actually watching us. So it's not something I would just gloss over, but I actually believe it's such a powerful tool to actually use it to share with people outside this church, because they can actually see that these people are some of the healthiest, strongest, most godly, I guess, and smartest individuals that I've ever seen. Yeah, like Christ. I mean, if you were around that time and you saw a guy and you saw Christ, you would think that he was one of the most healthiest, godliest, smartest, strongest man I've ever seen. You know, he's definitely different. So I believe Christians should be different as well. So I always challenge people. I say, you know what? All of that is nice, but people say, listen, I'm not trying to do all that. I like what I do. I like what I eat. I like what I drink. I like where I go, and you can't tell me anything. And I said, that's absolutely right. I can't. But time will always tell. But I say, if you want to actually be more of a witness for Christ, I believe that the health message is actually very, very, very useful. Very useful. And you'll find that you're actually attracting more people around you. When I started doing this, people were very attracted to me, you know, in a good sense, because they wanted to know, what is that? What are you eating? What is that? I'm like, it's just a barbecue chicken sandwich, you know. Well, it's not chicken really, but you want to try some? They'd be like, this is impossible. That can't be chicken. I'm like, no, it is. Actually, it is. But they're amazed because they don't believe it's possible. So by God's help, I always like to say it's possible. And I can at least say I'm a testimony, at least to my own family, because actually I'm the only Adventist in my family. And it was actually interesting because when it comes to health or spiritual matters, I do find myself being targeted. So they do watch me. They watch me closely to see what I'm eating. They watch me to see if I went to church. They watch me very close. One day I'll tell you, and I'm gonna close because I'm gonna invite the next speaker. One day I said, I'm not going to church today. I ain't, whatever. I'm tired, I ain't got time for this. When family came down to me and was like, what's going on? What, they just barged them out. What's going on? You're still here. What happened? Are you okay? I said, oh, man. I said, no, I'm just trying to, I'm just having a slow day, and I had to get up and go. So I'm a testimony. I'm a testimony to them. So I have to live up to their expectation. If it means they will come closer to having a stronger relationship with Christ himself. So as I always give a charge, if you're being impressed by anything I've said, and you say, listen, that's a lot, but that's too much. I said, that's totally fine. The only thing that you have to do is one thing. No, that's it. That's all I'm saying. The only thing you need to do is one thing. Just say, you know what? Just one meal, I'm just going to take out meat. And that's it. I'm not going to do anything else. Don't do anything. In fact, I actually tell you, don't even do anything else. But pick your thing. What am I going to do differently? Maybe I'm going to try to have more water in. Maybe I'll just have a day. I'll just have water today. Focus on that and find out what it does for my body. I'll cut out the soda just for a day. That's it. That's it. Don't do anything more than that. If you want to, that's fine. And then see how you start feeling. That's it. And if you actually try it, next day do something else. And then when you find out you're adding and adding and adding more, you're just like, I didn't even actually know I can give up these things. When I was traveling, the thing I love that somebody shared with me when we did a presentation, he says, you know what? You know why it's so simple? It's something I learned. He shared it with me. He says, inch by inch, it's a cinch. Inch by inch, it's a cinch. Mile by mile, it could take a while. Yard by yard, it's not so hard. But just think, just inch by inch. That's all. I don't want to do all that stuff and plant-based eating and all that and salad. I don't want to do it. But I do want to just try that one little thing, and you'll see how God will bless you as well. Was the information simple? Do you believe it's practical? How many of you say, you know what? I'm just going to try one thing. That's it. All right, that's totally fine. Awesome. I'd like to invite the next speaker, I believe, Sister Monique Charles. Actually, she has an amazing testimony to actually share with you.